Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third best podcast ever in the world. Cam, we're
third?
Yeah, we're dropping down the ranks. We need to book our ideas up.
Who's 1 and 2?
I have no idea. It's just a random number that I pick at the start of every podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gruppetto 2.0. I'm Chris Pritchard, and alongside me is Cameron Jeffers.
Uggy.
Oi. Right, without further ado, we're going to get our guest straight on because we're here in his bloody house.
Yeah.
Right. If
This is Gruppetto 2.0 on tour.
If you were to look up in the dictionary, double-hard bastard, you'd find a picture of this man. All right? Made of Yorkshire grit, Sheffield steel. I was doing this intro this morning. But then I couldn't think of anything that Rotherham's famous for apart from the Chuckle Brothers.
Well, you've got one of them there.
So the other half of the Chuckle Brothers is, of course, Russell bloody Downing. Russell, hello. You all right?
Not bad, yeah. Can't be that hard, else I'll be out in the snow, wouldn't I?
I know. I thought
I'm doing a podcast with you.
When I was driving up, I was like, "This is Russell Downing weather."
I thought that as well.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it?
Times have changed, mate.
You know, that's what happens when you retire, isn't it?
Retirement. I get out when I get out, but yeah, I was out in the snow the other day, so people are saying, you're mad, but just love it, nah? Love the sport.
It's crazy when you think that
passion.
That people in cars struggle to get about in their car when it starts to snow, and yet you see cyclists out like it's nothing.
Where do you draw the line?
When it's dangerous, you know, when you actually can't get traction and you have to walk your bike, then you say, no, I'm being stupid. I went out, I think it was last year or 2 years ago when Snake Pass was closed.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't ride Snake Pass very often. It's too busy, it's crazy, you know, but got to Ladybar, it was closed. I thought, I'm going to get up it, see how far I can get. And I got pretty far.
So it's closed, so then you decide to go up it.
Well, it's quiet.
On a bike. It's
I suppose.
exactly,
No
that's what I
cars.
mean. It was closed. I was on my winter bike. I didn't have bobbly tyres on or anything, but yeah, got some great shots for the gram.
I bet
so
you
that was
did.
it.
Oh, nice. Right, where shall we start? Because I guess I want to talk about everything Russell Downing today.
I don't think we can do in 30 minutes.
We can try.
We can try.
Yeah, I'm pretty old, so it's going to go
There's a
back
lot
there,
in
yeah,
there.
40 something years.
So pretty much your career has spanned, I was working out, kind of the start of cycling. I mean, not the start of cycling, but the massive heyday that we saw in 2012, 2011, 2013 and so on. You were kind of, on your bike, riding and had a career as a cyclist before then, kind of like 06, 07, and then you went all the way through it and kind of we're getting to the point now where it seems to be dropping off. I guess we'll get your take on that in a minute. But you've kind of spanned everything and you've been there and seen it all, haven't you?
Yeah, I think I was probably one of the first lottery-funded riders back in 1998.
Yeah.
So under 23, lottery funding I think did come in 98, and I was part of the world-class performance plan then.
Oh yeah, I never knew that.
Under 23, on the squad, there wasn't really a plan. We just went away to a few races, and yeah, I can remember going up to Manchester doing some testing. Test was shit, to be honest. Didn't do that. Then we started. We had a bit of a race program. Tour of Morocco. We did Lavany. We did quite a few races.
So this is
year.
as GB.
This is as Team GB in I think Luminous Green kit or something.
Oh yeah, that was horrendous.
I'm not sure if that was that year. No, I think it was the year after it went Luminous Green.
Right.
It's more blue, green, and multicoloured then.
What was it Adidas back then, or was it something else?
Weren't it like Imp
I think it might have been Imp Sport then. I think Adidas probably went 1 or 2 years later.
Right.
That was the best kit GB ever did, in my opinion.
The Adidas kit.
Yeah, that one with the red and the blue and the white.
Red, white and blue, yeah, that was really nice.
Love that one.
Definitely, yeah.
So who else was on the squad at that time then? Was Dean there?
No, this I was obviously under 23, so it was myself, Charlie Wigg, Alias, James Griffiths. Who else did we have? Matt Bottrell, Richard Obby. There's still, how it is now, the old Instagram, the old throwbacks. You see pictures of myself, Charlie, Richard Obby, Bottrell on the start line for the Worlds in Valkenburg 98. Basso and people knocking around in the background. So it's been a few years.
It's been there and bloody done it all. I don't know if you've got any questions that you want to speak to Russ about. I guess you have.
Yeah.
I just wanted to try and regale all the old stories. Now, one fact that I found out while researching Russ, like there's a massive.
It's not true. Don't read. Don't believe. Sorry, all you read on the internet.
It's smaller or bigger.
Depends.
All right.
What are you talking about?
Right, in this cold weather right now.
It's just non-existent, isn't it?
Steve said
So what I found out, right, one of the most interesting facts in the Premier League football is that I don't know if this is like a fact that everyone knows, or it's just because I'm a Sheffield United fan, but Brian Deane was the first person to ever score a goal in the Premier League, right? And one of the most interesting facts about Russell Downing is he was the first British rider to win for Team Sky. Did you know that?
Yeah, you did a throwback a couple of weeks ago, didn't you? I saw a post somewhere about that.
That is pretty big. Because when you think about that, you'd think...
What was that? What was that? Wallonie?
That was
Criterium International.
Stage 2?
The split, 2A. The split stage. It was great. You know, I was part of the first team win in the pre down under crit, but then that was the first individual win British rider.
See, that's pretty big, because when you think about that, you'd think like probably Wigo or someone like that. But Bosh, you've got that title forever.
Yeah,
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was a good time. You know, I went there. I don't think we really had any other sprinters there, so Yatesy put a lot of belief in me. He knew I was climbing well, and it was slightly uphill sprint there in Corsica, isn't it? They still have the same finish when they had it.
Porto Vecchio?
That's the one, yeah. So it's a left-hand turn, I think 600 metres to go. And pulled the win out, sort of drag racing with Albacini. Nice. And then Federico was in yellow, and he nearly came on the line, but held off and got the victory. And I think came home 2 days later, actually got a phone call from David Brailsford, which you don't get many of them from that man. And he was the same. He was like, be proud in what you've done, you know, you've put yourself in the history books. Yeah. And that was that. And then he dropped me 2 years later, but that's another story.
I guess we're jumping ahead quite a lot, but I want to ask about how the Team Sky kind of thing came around. You know, like do you remember what you were doing at the time? Because I guess you rode for the team in the first year, so that there's no history of the team. Was it, did Dave just ring you up and say, "Look, I've got this idea. I'm starting a world tour team. Do you want to be part of it?" You know, how did that whole thing come around?
Not like you've just said. Okay. Dave Brailsford, obviously I knew Team Sky was happening. It had been bubbling for a few years. I think the first I'd heard about it was, go back, I think it was 2008 that it was happening. I was in the World Championships, I think it was Viarese that year. I was the only finisher for Team GB, and there was talk that Team Sky was happening, and Shane was like, you've done a mega ride, this, that and the other, and the team's going to be happening, we want you in the team, I said, well, yeah, that's good, but there's still a gap year, 2009, what am I going to do? Well, just stay where you are, we'll come and get you, sort of thing. So that's where I'd first heard about it, end of 2008.
All right.
So 2009, I just sort of put my head down, didn't really think that Team Sky was happening, just forgot about it, got on with the job, didn't hear from them all year, and then August time was when Tour of Ireland was on. Yeah, I'd been flying. Won that.
Lad.
I'd second in 2008, so I wanted to go back and really defend it and just show them that I should have won it the year before.
Yeah.
Won that. Still nothing happening. No phone call, and it was quite funny because Lars Petter Nordag I took him to the finish line, and we broke away just from 6-man group at the end, and as soon as we hit the next climb, Lars was like, Russ, I need the stage, you can have GC. I was like, just didn't listen, didn't say anything. I was like, just get your arse in gear and pedal, because we've only just broke him, They can come back to us and say, we'll negotiate over the next climb. But I didn't want to, I just wanted to force the pace on, and then we went to the finish, and I said, right, you can take the win, I'll take the GC. And when we got on the podium, he was like, I'll see you at Team Sky, and I was like, don't know what you're on about, mate. He'd already signed, but I'd not even had a phone call, so I was like, if I see you at Team Sky, you owe me more than a coffee, mate. I've just let you have a victory.
Just added another 0 to his contract.
So that was that. I came home from Tour of Ireland, and I was buzzing. Mega year. I've had a great year up until August.
Oh wow.
So I was like, what's next? And then I think it was Monday. The phone rang. I'm not sure if it was Dave or Shane who rang me. Obviously.
So this was before Tour of Britain.
This was before Tour of Britain.
Right.
This was before Tour of Britain. So yeah, the phone went and I more or less signed then. I think Phil Griffiths was a big key player in that. Yeah. Obviously, I was sponsored by Pinarello. The team were going to be on Pinarello, so he was giving a good nudge. He was good friends with Shane. So it's just there was a lot of people pushing my call, and the results didn't really do it. I think if it wouldn't have been for Ireland, maybe I'd have not gone. But Ireland was just a mega performance, and I was on probably the form of my life out there. I can feel it now, sends the hairs on the back of my head up. But St Patrick's Hill, it's pretty steep and it was horrible weather, and I was just looking across at people thinking, that's all you've got. They had like 4 riders each, it was just,
I remember that. I remember him.
There's a picture upstairs, what amazing. What Griffith had made up, and you can just see the rain and everything, and I'm just like, it's just like I was honestly on a club run. And it was. It
doesn't happen very often, that, does it?
No.
Has that ever happened to you, Cam?
What?
Been that, like, just looking around going, this is mine, this is...
Nah.
I'm not talking about a Preston crit.
No.
Like, what about tour series, though, when you're in Durham?
Yeah, I guess Durham, actually, when we were going up the cobble climb, and I was at the front of the group before I attacked for the breakaway, and I was like, is it... Yeah.
Is this all you got?
Is this all? Yeah. Well, you don't want to sound cocky, but it's like
but it's good.
Everyone else is like dropping, and I'm thinking this is all right.
When you're on that form and you're feeling good,
it's the best feeling in the world. It's just priceless. You can't buy that. And
then not only that though, but getting the win.
Yeah, getting the win was good, and I think that character turned up to the race, didn't he? That Lance Armstrong guy, didn't he?
Did
so
he?
It made it. Obviously, it was like, Lance Armstrong didn't even finish the race, didn't even do a lap in Cork. There, he went straight on. As soon as you come into Cork, it was left and then up the massive little climb back down and then up St Patrick's Hill. He didn't even make the left turn. He just went straight on to the bus and then went and did some charity ride the next day. But everyone was like, Lance Armstrong didn't finish the race. Oh, who won it? Russ Downing. Who was he? That was that. So we knew. Got a good start there with Lance Armstrong turning up, and
the important people knew who won. So
cheers, mate.
Thanks. So then Team Sky happened. Like, what's it feel like to ride for the greatest cycling team ever? Probably. Facts.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a good feeling, Then we had all winter through. Then we had build up. We had pre-camps in Manchester where it was just we went over there, had a good laugh, met some of the guys who a lot of them I knew, a lot of them I didn't know. Mm-hmm. Some of them probably didn't even know who I was. They were all been pro for years, and it was a great team straight away. We had meetings on meetings, and it was good fun. And then we went out to Australia to hit the ground running, and that was a bit of a shock coming from Rotherham. I remember me and Swifty were doing some heat chamber stuff in my apartment. Ooh. We had the heating turned up and all doors and frigging blinds down. We got up to like 32 degrees, and we were doing 3-hour turbo sessions. That's just because we were tight asses and we didn't want to drive to Manchester to use a heat chamber. I got home from Australia and had a gas bill of like, I don't know how much, but Swifty didn't pay for that, and neither did Team Sky, but that's another story.
But you did well. Yeah,
we did well out in Oz. I was part of the lead out train. Mm-hmm. We had some guy on the front, Chris Froome. He was the start of the lead out train, and Yates was just get him to barge people out of the way and then get him out of the way before he causes carnage to the rest of the lead out. So that's what we did every day. Froome was the start of the lead out. He'd go at like 7k to go, and he'd just carve the way through the peloton in the wrong way, but it kind of worked for him. And then he'd bail, and I'd be the first lead out man.
Who were you riding for Swifty at that time or not?
No, we were riding for Henderson or Sutton.
Right,
I think Sutton won the pre-crit, and then Hendy won after that. But yeah, so that first pre-crit was mega because we took on HTC train. At 2 laps to go, coming down the finishing straight, I think Heyman was second or third. Really, like, right, we've got to go now. I can remember going into the back corner, just a drag race with HTC. Mm-hmm. I've looked across, and there's 6 or 7 of them or whatever, and we're just nailing them. There's a picture, I think, floating around. I'm absolutely flat stick on the front just to even get level with him. Yeah. And then he had to do another half a lap, fall down the finishing straight, and then the other lads took over. But I nailed it.
Bloody amazing that. So then, like 2010, give us some stories from 2010. What you went on to do, like Amstel Gold. You went and did Paris-Roubaix in 2011 or 2010.
No, didn't ride any of the big classics with Sky. Never. I nearly got in Roubaix. I rode the semi-classics. First big race, first classics of the year, which is Newsblad that's at the weekend.
Yeah.
That was my first one with Team Sky.
Right.
So we'd done Australia, Qatar, back home for a week, and then out to Belgium. Wasn't as bad a weather as this. It was cold, cold and crisp. I remember it was always Fletcher and Edvald Bozenhagen who were going really well then. So I was just there as a boy to do whatever. I think I went back for bottles at 40 odd K.
Yeah.
Went back, had a chat with Scott Sunderland. He was like, pass those bottles out. And when you've done that, go and sit on the front and peg that breakaway. I was like, all right, that's that then. So I went back to the front. I think there was only 2 or 3 of us pegging the breakaway back. Kevin Olsmans was there. Was riding at Quickstep at the time, and just pegged the brake. Every climb I'd sort of slide out the back, get back on, boys would pull over, I'd move back to the front, and get back to the front, do another few K on the front, got to the finish, and Fletcher had won the race. So it was good times.
You'd done your job.
You'd earned
your bonus.
I went back for bottles and I ended up sat on the front for 3 hours. So deserved a bottle of something after that.
Was that your biggest race so far? Then would you say? Because obviously you've done like Tour of Britain and other things with Candy TV, Pinarello. But would you say at this point these are kind of the races that you wanted out of your career? Yeah,
2010. The thing was. I always dipped in and out of big races, with smaller teams like Islands, and then we've done stuff racing against what you call the big pros. And I've always performed coming out of the UK scene. So people always ask the question, well, what was Team Sky like? And I just said, well, there's no change. The races were the races.
Yeah.
Every race was a big race.
Yeah.
As before, it was you dip in and out. You do a Premier, you do a National B, you do a Town Centre Crit, and then you go in a big race. But there was none of that, with Sky.
Every single one.
Big race. Classics were always one I wanted to ride. So to ride the first one at Newsblad was amazing. I rode some of the semi ones out in Belgium when I was with DFL and other teams. Won a good 2.1 in 2006 with DFL, which was middle of the season. So I was obviously going well, but. Yeah, the classics at the start of the year are just a different story. Like I said, the weather's just horrendous. The crowds are mega, and everyone's revved up. They've
been waiting.
They've waited all winter. They've done their prep. They've done everything else, and they're ready to go. So
that's the classics for me are Russ Downing territory. You think of you when you're out here training in this kind of weather. Like it all builds towards kind of them. Do you feel like you got out of it what you wanted? Did you want more out of the classics, or like when you look back at that, you go, I did what I needed to do and I enjoyed it and I embraced it? And
I wanted to ride the classics. At Sky, I never got the opportunity to ride for myself. It was always I was riding for others. Neta Pendura rode them again a few years later. Same again. Ended up riding. I did Flanders, Roubaix, Amstel, 3 weekends on the bounce. Rode Roubaix, and we had to bring the breakaway back. Which we were the smallest team in the race. It wasn't live on TV or anything, so we weren't doing it for publicity. They said we wanted to bring the breakaway back. We did. We got moaned at from every other team. Why the heck did you do that? Well, we didn't have a man in it for starters, so that's why we did it. But we just made the race carnage, and I didn't want to not finish Roubaix because of that reason. So I plugged on and got home in the Gruppetto and finished it. Another tick, because Roubaix it's not my race. You need some big power for that. I'm more of a sort of punchier, shorter power. But I got a start in it, so I wanted to finish it, and I did. So I knew I probably wouldn't ever do it again, but that was that.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's. I guess like you're pretty old school. Like kids nowadays probably don't know the history of a lot of the races. But you seem to be like one of those guys who followed cycling before you became a professional cyclist. You know all the history behind all the races, and you went into those races knowing that. Yeah,
so I grew up, so I probably could ride a bike before I could even walk. So I love the sport. I had passion for it. Even if I wouldn't be pro, I'd still be riding my bike.
Oh,
so I'd done
still riding it now.
For 20 years, I managed to squeeze a living out of the sport, and it's been great. And now we just ride it for the fun, don't we?
Well, you do.
Do you feel content with your career? Do you feel like you've accomplished what you kind of set out to do? Or I guess you always want more, don't you? But do you feel content with it all?
Yeah, I feel pretty content. I'd like to have been, World Tour Pro before I was like 30-year-old, because I think I had the ability and I had the attitude. I was very professional. I was always training. I was never messing around at the sport. Yeah, I always put a lot of hours in, a lot of dedication, and gave a lot of my home life and things up for a good few years. But it came when I was 30, so I got hold of it. Yeah. A lot of people said, they should have kept you at Sky to maybe do the smaller race programs, not be the guy who's riding the tour and not be the guy who's doing this, but we need someone to go and do a result in some race somewhere. And that's what I used to do in the second year, go and run top threes, had some victories, but so I wish it'd have come earlier, but definitely no regrets. I've won quite a few bike races. I'd like to know actually how many bike races I've won.
I mean, I was looking through his Wikipedia this morning, and literally like what hasn't on a domestic scene, and I guess even in Europe, like he's won quite a few races, like every bike, and not just like 1 or 2 years, like every year. Yeah. And what I noticed is like you've won hillier races, flatter races, track world, gold on the track. Yeah. Like what type of rider would you say you are?
A punchy rider who can climb on his day. Can climb up to maybe 10 minutes max. Yeah. But obviously Chris knows. You say you're the other side of the hill. The roads around here short, sharp. 4, 5, 6, 7 minute climbs, and I think that just shows the rider that I am. I train constantly around here, home roads. So when I lived in Italy in 2001, I could climb longer, but then I lost my sprint. Yeah. So it's kind of where you are, where you do your training is what type of rider you become. And you mentioned about the World Cup victory in the team pursuit. Yeah. That was just that was a definite eye opener. I think we were out in Oz, and Dave Brailsford was like, "Oh, you're going to ride the team pursuit at the weekend?" I'm like, "Really?" Because
did you do much track? Like, was that alien to you, or were you a track rider as well because you're part of the BC program?
Yeah, track is how I got into the sport. Right. Track, slightly different. We used to have like carnivals, what they call grass track then. You're riding around a 400 metre flat.
They still have it, right?
They still have it.
Like Mildenhall.
Mildenhall, yeah. I think even we used to have one up here at Faircroft, and that's where it all started. But track was what I did, and we went on the GB track squad when myself and Dean became Madison British champions. Yeah. So we had to go and have an interview with Dave Brailsford because there wasn't a discipline. They didn't fund anyone to do that, and it was just, you've got two brothers that are British champion. Why not put us on the calendar? Yeah. So we did the circuit for 2 years. We got fourth out in Moscow one year, just missed out on getting a podium, and we actually qualified Team GB for the Olympics. But they didn't send us because it's all changed. If it's like with Cavendish now, he has to qualify himself, but it changed then. So we qualified everyone. I think Cav actually rode then.
Really?
So we got all the points over 2 years on World Cups,
and then they did
send
I'm not sure if I'm not saying my memory's getting bad enough. It was Halesey and Wiggins or Cav and that. So we didn't go, but. Yeah, that was good.
What I want to talk about is Chris Walker and his influence on you, because he's quite a big influence on you, right?
Never heard of him.
Dickhead. So for those of you who don't know, there can't be many. Tell everybody about Chris and his credentials when it comes to cycling, because I'd never heard of him. The only Chris Walker I knew of was from motorcycle racing. So then when people started talking about Chris Walker, when I got into cycling, I was like, he races motorbikes and he's a cyclist. Oh no,
I've had that conversation numerous times. Yeah. It's a funny one because Chris was a push bike rider, Colin Wheatwish. You had to put a title on him, and then he actually went in end of his career. He went to work for a motorbike company. So
it confused me.
Confusing stories there. But now Chris Walker obviously lives a couple of villages back, and he was a big hero of mine. He was always we had lots of TV crits around at the time, you know, Sheffield, York, Worksop. We had some big names come and ride in local towns, and that was Thursday night, Friday night entertainment was going on the crits, and seeing Chris Walker absolutely rip around the streets was just like, wow, you're class, mate. Kind of knew of him. He knew my dad and the local clubs. And just thought, he's an absolute legend. And then I think when I was maybe 16 or 17, kind of bumped into him, got to know him a little bit, and he took me under his wing. Come and train with me if you want, Russ. Be at my house at 10 o'clock. I'll come out the door. We'll go out. If you get dropped, you know where you live, sort of thing. Yeah. And that was that. Nothing's changed. If you go out with Chris and he's on fire, then that's it. You have to make your own way home. But learnt the hard way, and he really took me under my wing. And it was Chris who convinced me I was good enough to be professional. Yeah. I think it was 1997. We had a small team called Team Invader under gear. 6 riders. Tom Barris was in there, Darren Perry, Johnny Chapman, lad from Worksop, and small team. Chris was the boss man, and it was do as he said, and we had a good crack though. We went up and did Premier Calendar up in Scotland, Tour of Kingdom. Chris was away, he was on his own, and I was in a 5 or 6 man group. Ended up getting second to Chris, won the sprint, and he was like, This boy's pretty good. I was still working at the time.
What were you doing?
I was an apprentice carpenter down at the steelworks at Kiveton Park, and that was on one of Chris's routes. So he'd come down from Aston, he'd go down to the station, turn right over the crossing, and certain days he'd come down with one of his pals who he was training with, and he'd see me walking around the corner with a tool bag, just going to service some machines or doing something, going to the vending machine to buy Chris or something for the boss man. But he'd be like, get on your bike, really sort of abused me, but in a good way. and then he was like, look, you need to try and give this cycling a crack. So I was really focusing on trying to do both. You know, whenever there was a road race league on or a local chain gang, I'd go and do that and really try and push the game. And I had a good year, and then halfway through the year, the boss was pretty good with me. He was like, we'll support you with your cycling and this, that and the other. And I got to know some of the directors because I was doing little jobs like in the offices, and they were like, what do you do? I said, well, I'm riding a bike a bit, and we'll look after you. So they gave me a bit of sponsorship.
Nice.
But then I don't think that really worked well with my foreman back in the carpentry in department. So he thought he was the big wig, and it was only him who could talk to the directors, and they were like taking me under the wing and all that, and it was good. So then a few months down the line it changed, and it was like he knew the days when the local road races were on, he knew when the chain gangs were on, and I said, look, I'll do overtime and help you out whenever I can, but not on those days. Yeah. So he was like, all right. But then it started to change. He'd slightly try, come on, can you not do Saturday morning? I said, no, I've entered a race. I'm going down to Dollymore. I'm doing something. I said, so you know the drill. I'm not just taking a piss here. I will do it when the race is on. Yeah. And he was like, well, he had a mumble and a grumble as I'm making him a cup of tea at the 9:30 like we had to every day. And that was that. And then he came, I can't remember what day it was, it may be a Thursday or a Friday, he came down one day, he said, Russ, I've been thinking. And he was like, I think this cycling's getting in the way of your work. And I remember, as clear as a day, I was pulling the lever down to make him a cup of tea, and I just paused and I went, no, Andy, I think this work is getting in the way of my cycling. Yeah. And I said, I'm going to go home, I'm going to have a think about it, and I'll knock on your door Monday morning. Cause I knew that I was thinking, right, well, if he's going to be pushy, it's getting in the way, I might just sack it off.
Flip it on him, yeah.
So I remember Monday morning, goes back in, I spoke to my dad, I said, Dad, I want to progress with the cycling. Chris is really behind me, he's convinced me that I'm good enough, I can get by this year, he's going to pay me expenses through Team Invader. I'm going to give it a try. Knocked on the guy's door Monday morning. And you weren't allowed to knock on his door unless it was something serious. What do you want, lad? I said, just wanted a word. And he went, what? And I went, there's my notice.
Bosh.
And he went, he said, you're bloody stupid. I said, well, that's my decision. Never looked back since. That was 1997. So then some good results that year. 98, a lot refunded, and that's
the rest is history.
That's the rest is history, yeah.
Bloody hell! So if you'd not done that, if it'd have been a bit nicer,
exactly,
you might have stayed end up doing that.
And it's kind of funny. I know another guy, Jack Stevenson, who big mates 50 and rides local. He used to live 2 or 3 doors down from this guy, Andy, who was my foreman. Yeah. And apparently, like, I don't know, 10, 15 years later, he's seen Jack on a bike and said, "Oh yeah, I used to know a lad who rode a bike, and I wonder if he's any good." Really? This was after Team Sky. This was after everything. This Andy said to this Jack, so he'd not seen anything. He'd not seen whatever. He said, "I wonder if he ever made it." I thought he was bloody stupid. You can't earn a living from riding a bike.
Turns out you can.
And that was that. So cheers to Kimberton Park Steel for
nice one, mate.
Supporting me and giving me a push. And Chris Walker,
and then because Walker is a legend. Moving on,
we had a bit of a diverse on that question there, but Chris, he taught me into being good enough. Yeah. And looked after me all my career, and just became my best mate really, and my mentor really. And now I'm sort of in similar role to what he did with me with Joey and a few of the other locals. So that's kind of weird, I was still racing with Joey, and I remember when Joey was born. Yeah, it's like when Jesse was born was when me and Chris really first started to become friends. Then Joe was born, and then now he's
an adult.
He's an adult. He's a pro, and it's like bloody hell. So it's time to stop.
Talking about someone else, then Joey. What's Joey's prospects? What do you see in Joey? Do you see what Chris had, or?
Definitely, yeah. He's probably, he's probably a youth thing. All the youth nowadays are so relaxed and calm. Whereas Chris had some. He had some fire. He had some really aggressive. He won't like to mess with him. No. But Joey's he's very similar style of rider. I'd like to see him have a little percentage of Chris's fire. Yeah. But the talent is unbelievable. I'd say he's now with Downing Cycling. My brother's coaching him. Mm-hmm. I'm sort of mentoring him. He'll pick the race program up. Oh, you've won this race. I was like, yeah. What do you want to do?
What I'm talking about.
And that's kind of what I'm doing now with a mentor. I mentor probably 12 guys within Dino's coaching riders, and they'll pick a sheet up and they go, bloody hell, Russ won this in that year. So well, fire away. What do you want to know about it?
You go. What didn't I win, buddy?
Yeah, no, I won't ever do that. And it's like moving back a few questions. I never feel as though I've done enough, but I'm content.
Yeah. So is that kind of what you're doing now? You're coaching with your brother. What's going on?
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot going on. I said Dino's flat out. I think he's got nearly 30 guys on his books now, and he's coaching anything from hobbyists to sportives to then
world champions.
Yeah, ex-world champion Ben Tulet's moved on now, but I think right from the bottom up to I think Joey Walker will probably be his best rider now. At the top. Mm-hmm. So it's a massive spectrum, and like I say, he's busy, and Dino said, look, what do you want to do within Downing Cycling? And I'm not a guy for planning and coaching and actually, typing out, do this, do that. If it was for myself, that's all I ever did. I knew what worked, but putting it down on paper and actually designing someone's program, I said, look, bro, it's not for me. Yeah. I said, but I'd really like to advise and mentor the people who want to tap into my information. Mm. So that's the sort of role we do now. It's Dino straps me along with the package. With the package, you get Russ as a mentor. So it's no extra cost. It's just it's a bonus.
Oh, that is that's like the money can't buy that type of information out of like you say races and training. It's probably just as important as what Dean's typing out. Go and sit at this amount of watts for an hour. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes it's more important. Like I say, some days I've been on my knees on the back of the bunch. Yeah. I've gone and won the bike race because I just knew how to do it. I was like, and then back home and I've been ill in bed, but I've won the bike race because I knew when to put the power down, when to not, when to. So
that's interesting actually. 'Cause I remember, I think it was Klondike last year. I think it was Klondike. We were going to one of the hills, and I was just sat at the back of the bunch next to you. And we said hello, whatever, had a bit of a chat. And I remember it was literally like less than a mile later, an attack went off the front, like 4 guys. And the guy at the back, I was like, fuck, that's Russ. I was like, how has he just got from here past 100 guys and now he's off the front? Like, how does that happen?
Isn't it? How does it happen?
It's just knowing where you're going to be,
And shouting at people.
Yeah, shouting people, get out of the way, I'm coming through. No, but just like I said, never just like sit down. I wasn't sat down looking at my numbers on my stem and something's gone up the road. I'm always watching And like I say, not meaning it nationally, but yeah, you rode the biggest race in the world. They're all going, everything's so fast. It's like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Sort of, you come home, you relax. It's like, oh, you can actually see the things happening in slow motion. You're like, right. And you know, like I say, if I wasn't in that breakaway, there was 3 guys and I wanted to get there, you'd know the last moment that you could actually get there, you were like, if I go now, this is going to work. But if I just go, boom, I get there. I can do a 20, 30 second sprint and I'm on. So yeah, I probably just sensed it and thought, right, that could be a dangerous move. I'm going to get there. It'll hurt me to get there, but you've got to pick your time. That's it. You've got to pick your time. And right place, right time, and wrong place, wrong time sometimes when you're flapping on the back and there's no more road left. That's it.
And big accidents as well.
You go out the back.
Some big uns you've had in your career.
Yeah,
we can talk about it now because you're not racing, so we can't jinx it, can we? Really?
No, I still ride my bike though, so anything can happen. But
there's enough wood in this place.
There's enough wood, and
we'll
touch some tables.
Lincoln GP, what the bloody hell happened there? Because that was massive.
Some motorbike outrider decided to park his bike just on the edge of the road as we were going 65k an hour, following moves, 6th wheel, head down. You think long straight road, I can see what's happening here.
Yeah.
And then next thing I looks up, someone swerved out. And I just hit it, did not brake or nothing, 65k an hour.
Oh.
Knocked bloody however much frigging steam out of myself. The motorbike went everywhere and instantly knew I broke my collarbone, did ribs and everything, and I was in a mess. But
what year was that?
3 years ago?
No, 2014, NFTO year.
Oh, yeah.
So
longer than that then.
It was it's a long time ago, and I was all up for Lincoln,
Yeah.
I was in flying form, but they changed it a bit. It was just before they had the nationals, so they're doing like the pre-national sprint when they went out. When they went out the back on the edge of the Wolds, they did 2 laps and then into the Lincoln. But it's carnage half an hour really. That it was raining, it was really bad. We'd gone down the back lane. I think Alexander Blaine had hit that dog.
Yeah.
So it's it was just coming back together. I got back on through I think only 15 people went through the split where the dog was. Chasing to get back on. It's like, right, there's another move going. I need to go with that. So flying down the outside, actually off the front of the peloton. Wrong side of the road, but it was a rolling road closure. So you didn't think to be anything. If it was a car, you'd see it, but it was just his motorbike that was slightly stuck out, and someone saw it last minute. I was obviously following the wheel in front, and that was a pretty bad crash, but probably not the worst. But
what's your worst then?
Probably start of my career. 17-year-old down the track in Wales, fractured my skull, broken cheekbone, nearly lost my eyesight. Yeah, just absolute mess.
How do you do that?
Just crashed in the last half a lap of a points race, slightly underlapping the wheel. The guy's come down, touched it, gone. Track bike's gone flying over. I've slid, hit the pedal through my eye, chain set straight through my cheekbone, pedal through my eye. It's then smashed on my eye socket. And I wasn't out for cold, but I was like, what's happening? And then Dean was one of the first guys to get to me because he was in the breakaway in front, so quarter lap up, and he was one to get. And he said it was horrendous, all my side of my face had collapsed. He said he couldn't recognise me. Wow. Instantly there was blood coming out of everywhere, and it was kind of over my ears, and they weren't sure if it was coming out of my ears or what. And but it was just a bad old crash. 2 days later, come home and had surgery, three plates to bionic man me, and that was the start of my plates. And now I've got more metal than whoever.
Do you beep when you go through the airport?
No, funnily enough, that was 96 or 97. It was just as they started using titanium, and they said if you didn't put this in, you'd have to walk away with X-rays all the time. And so I went for the lightweight metal in me. I think,
still in now?
3 plates in my head, straight through, cut me straight through my eyebrow, shaved these big bushy things off, and 2 plates here, one underneath here, and more nuts and screws. Shit. I'd say I got big scars, and it's all.
And after that happened, was there any point thinking like fuck this, I don't want to do this anymore? Or was it like, I want to get better and straight back on the bike?
3 days later, he won a race. That's how hard he is.
No, joking apart, My bike was wrecked. Went to hospital that day. Came out. It was down in Wales. It was two day meeting, Saturday, Sunday. So Saturday, obviously, I was game over. No more racing. Sunday, what did I do? got on the bike. Got on the bike. Did a few laps. Absolutely smashed up head. People like, you nuts. I said, well, I've got to do this because. Yeah. So my bike was knackered. Got on Dean's bike. And it was at a time when Umbrico glasses were out. Massive, big goggles. I said, Dean, lend your goggles because I can't actually see out my left eye. It was just like, I think I burst more or less every blood vessel in me. I was lucky not to lose my eye. Yeah. But the doctors were like, I think it's just blood vessels. You're going to come good. So I was like, lend your helmet, lend your glasses. And I did a couple of laps, like when the race had finished. Yeah. And that's where the madness started.
That's where the grit came from. Because if you'd not got back on the bike, you could have easily sat there with the bike parked up for a week and then gone, I'm not actually that bothered.
I don't think that had ever happened. So I crashed numerous times from a youngster all the way through, and just love the sport. And got to get back on that and keep doing it.
There's no bicycling in the UK without Russell Downing in my eyes. Right, let's bring this to an end because we've talked for a bloody long time. Before we go, quickfire questions.
Oh.
As a spectator or a rider, favourite race?
Any of the classics.
No, pick one. You got to.
Flanders.
All right, favourite Grand Tour?
The one I've finished. Just finished.
Yeah, you finished it.
The Giro.
Always
like the other ones, but the Giro just had a bit of... Yeah, the Tour de France is a parade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine just being able to be like, I've done the Giro.
I know. It's insane, isn't it?
Finished it with broken ribs and a cracked sternum and coughing blood.
Yeah.
That's another story.
We did it. Yorkshire Grit, that's what I'm saying. Sheffield Steel. Ooh.
We need to do about 3 podcasts.
Stupidity.
We do, don't we?
Sheffield Stupidity, we should call it.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah. Favourite bike?
My first one. With stabilisers and that, so I didn't actually fall over and I was safe.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I remember my first bike.
I think it was, yellow or blue or something. But
if you could win one race that you never won, what would you win?
Flanders.
Ooh, yeah. But again, you raced it.
Raced it 3 times, yeah. So, it was good. Yeah, good vibes.
Favourite current rider? You can't say Cameron Jeffers, obviously. It'd be embarrassing.
Let's say favourite professional rider.
Yeah,
it's definitely not me.
Can't say that Ben Swift either, because he's just a.
Oh, well, actually, I wanted to talk to you about Swifty, but
we could say Swifty,
had a chance to talk about him.
New boy on the block, Van der Poel.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I've did some of the commentary on Tour of Britain last year, and some of the stuff he does is just insane. He's like, unbelievable.
Favourite all-time rider?
Probably Sean Kelly.
Oh, nice.
I had the privilege of meeting him a few years later after I was national champion, and what a guy.
Yeah.
My dad, I've probably come from my dad though. My dad really loved Sean Kelly. Yeah. It's that style of ride, you just get on with it. Yeah. And I think I wasn't as good as Sean Kelly, but that's the style of rider that I was. I could climb on my day, He's won San Remo. He has to be good to do that. And exactly. Just get on with it.
One tip for youngsters starting out in cycling now, what would you give them?
Enjoy it.
Right. Easy as that.
Easy as that.
Yeah.
Keep the passion.
At all times.
Yeah, even in, it's hard. You look out the window like today, horrible weather.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, don't do it. And if that feeling lasts for 2 or 3 days, then you've got a problem. But it will not last every day. You won't be like, do it, yeah. People, they laugh and say, oh, you're always out in all weathers. Yeah, because I still want to do it. But if there's one day I don't want to do it,
you don't do it.
Don't do it. It'll come back.
I love it. Cam, you got any more questions to ask Russell?
I think that's a nice note to end it on, isn't it?
Bloody brilliant. Russell Downing, thank you ever so much.
Headphones are already off.
His headphones are off, he's done. He's obviously very busy.
I'll come back for you.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us, Russ.
Thanks for having me.
Coffee. Oh, let's before we go, if I was to drink any coffee, what coffee would you think I should drink?
The one I made you earlier?
Yeah. What kind of blend is that, Russ?
It's for the strongmen.
Yeah?
A double day blend.
Oh, right. By who?
By Downing Cycling.
Yeah.
Brewed by Grand Tour Coffee Company.
And if I wanted to try and buy, can I buy that?
You can buy that now. Put some silver in my hand, and you can have some. Yeah.
If I wasn't here right now, where would I go to buy that?
It's going to be available online soon. We're just doing an online shop now with all our merchandise. So yeah, going to be downingscycling.com. So get it in there. And I said, who doesn't love a coffee for a double day? And if you want to do two bike rides in one day, you need it to be strong. So yeah,
I'd call it double dip.
Well, it was double D. There was all sorts of flying there. Double D, double Downings, isn't it? Dean and Russell.
Yeah,
but it's like,
if you don't know that,
exactly.
Sounds
but
like it's
we've had all sorts. So I came up with the name Double Day. You nearly got me on the double dip there, but who double dips? Oh, horrible people.
Right, we're done. Thanks, everybody.
Facts. Too loud. That's too loud.
It's fucking not. It's not even peaking, you prick.
Exactly. You don't want it to be. That was fine. Yeah, that's better.
Welcome to Comedy Hour.
Fucking motherfuckers.
Come on. Have you clapped us in?
Yeah. What someone was talking to.